Okay, I'm sure many of you have seen this book. The colors are a little strange because this is a little more orange. I don't know, it looks like yellow. In any case, I would like to point out at the chess set, this chess set that is the same that I have here. And from this point on, I'm going to watch Tal's game on this particular chess set. I would like to start with game number 3. It's a game between Tal and Pasman, Latvian Championship 1953 is a Sicilian defense. The game given below was played in the tournament which brought me to my fourth really important success. There was always a very tense struggle for the Latvian Championship, and to take fourth place in it was a far from easy matter. Running ahead a little, I remember how, in 1958, the twice champion of the USSR, Tal, had to be satisfied with fourth place in the Championship of a Republic. However, in the 1953 Championship, I was the undisputed favorite. This had nothing to do with chess strength. At that time I had 4th category rating, while there was one master and about 10 candidate master in the tournament. Or to express it in modern way, my individual rating was far from being the highest. Simply commencing in 1951, there was an unwritten tradition in our championship that the winner should be a 4th-year student. In 1951 it was M. Pasman. In 1952 Y. Kliavin. In 1953 I was the only 4th year taking part, following the same tradition. The next year Y. Clovans took 4th place and then Agiplis. I succeeded in repeating my achievement in the championship only 12 years later. Okay, wow. When the tradition had been forgotten and young players did not in general reach the final of the Championship of the Republic. My opponent was one of the stronger players in Latvia and had already successfully completed in the USSR Championship semi-final. And Pasman likes to play to a clearly defined positional plan, and so it was with particular pleasure that I strove in this game for tactical complication, reckoning that only in this way I could hope for success. I am starting the game, but I would like to tell you one thing that maybe many people don't know. When he says running ahead a little, I remember how in 1958 the twice champion of the USSR, M. Tal, had to be satisfied with 4th place in the Championship of the Republic, Latvia. I don't know if you guys know, but in 1958 and in 1959, Tal won the candidate tournament, right? So, because in 1961, if I remember, he became world champion. So imagine how strong he was in 1958, and yet he wasn't able to win the Latvian championship. Okay, I hope that you had fun about this story. Knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4. What I like is when the pieces are heavy, otherwise it takes away the pleasure, you know. Knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, a6, obviously to block this. At the time the Najdorf system was only just coming into fashion. f4. This continuation was one of the most popular at the time. Now, for no particular reason, it is played rather rarely, although it brings white a high enough percentage of wins. I like this move for the main reason that in the 1952 USSR Championship semi-final in Riga, and Pasman played in this tournament, a spectacular game was played. I'm unable to resist the temptation to give it in full. And here he gives in full the spectacular game. So I think we have to go a little back. No, not even a little back, because it starts from move 6. And so we will watch that game, okay? The game is between G. Ravinsky and G. Yivitsky. I hope I pronounce them right as names. e5. So this is not the Tal Passman game, okay? Knight f3, Queen c7, Bishop d3, Knight b d7, Castle, b5, a3, Bishop e7, King h1. This is a typical move in the Sicilian because you want to remove the king from this diagonal, because sometimes you can forget some pieces, they are hanging, and that diagonal is a danger. Castle, f takes e5, d takes e5, knight h4, bishop d8, queen e1, knight c5, bishop g5, bishop e6, knight a5, knight h5, queen h4, knight f4. And here there is a diagram. Generally, when there is a diagram, it's because the author wants you to pause, stop everything, throw away everything you were doing, just focus on the board. Black just played knight f4, you're white, you need to guess what white played. Obviously, if Tal blocks his book for telling us about this game, I think it's pretty clear what the next move is. Also, if you didn't know how to play chess, you know what is the next move. Probably knight takes g7, the only move which sacrifices a knight or sacrifice something because it's Tal. But obviously this game wasn't played by Tal, so but he likes it. King takes g7, rook takes f4, e takes f4, queen h6, king g8, and now of course, boom, bishop f6, double exclam. That's interesting. You know, there is a reason why this bishop f6 is good, because it stops this from going forward, and probably wants to do this and give checkmate or something like that. I'm sure that is all the thing about, because you see bishop takes f6 is still blocking everything, and so there is a possibility to give checkmate, right? e5, knight takes d3, probably bishop e takes f6, right? Knight f2, king g1, knight h3, king f1, bishop c4, and knight e2. And now the game is over. After the game, the opinion was expressed that Ravinsky's combination could have been refuted by means of knight c takes d3, but I did not agree with this point of view, either because of bishop f6, or more likely knight queen g3. I don't remember, and had a burning desire to try this out. So let's return back to the initial position and let's watch the game by Tal so we can see what happened. So in this case we understand that Tal memorized that game because he liked it very much, and he wanted to try another continuation to see if really there was a refutation. Clearly the black player was a strong player, and so this makes sense. So e4, c5, knight f3, what was d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, a6 the Najdorf is said, f4 the move that stop there because the other guy, the black, played e5. Let's see if e5 is, yes, e5 is also played here. f5 is played here. And now he plays knight f3, knight f3. Yes, knight f3, knight bd7. And so here there is a fourth difference, but this could be a transposition, okay? Because in the other game it was played queen c7, and now knight bd7. Bishop d3. White tries to reach the desired position and so ignores the possibility of bishop c4. Okay, bishop e7, castle, castle. Well, bishop b4 make kind of sense because here the file could be open. Oh, that's not the same. King h1, like before I said, that diagonal is a problem for white. b5, a3, queen c7. Probably at this point we have in a transposition with that game that we have seen, or something similar. So f takes e5, d takes e5, knight h4, knight c5. Alas, and Passman does not wish to become involved in a theoretical discussion. Now, in reply to knight f5, black is by no means bound to retreat his bishop to d8. Okay. So let's see what happens, okay? Bishop g5, queen d8, knight f5, bishop takes f5, rook takes f5, knight f d7. Clearly I was not at all afraid of knight takes d3, which rids white of his bad bishop and strengthens his pawn on e4. However, even now black encounters certain difficulties, although he succeeds in parrying the direct threats to his king. Bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, knight d5, queen d6, queen g4. White simply throws his pieces at the enemy king's side. More in the spirit of the position was to play on the queen side. So it was better b4, he says, okay? And he would have played knight e6. And here he gives a line. But I'm not interested in that. So queen g4, g6, rook a f1, f6, and h4 is a mistake. Once more, it was better to play this b4, okay? Now, I don't remember when this book was actually written, and this would be interesting to know, right? Because, let's see, 1997. So it was first published in 1997, but maybe, yeah, they could have been using already the computer to find the right move, but obviously in 1997 it wasn't so strong, but it surely had some strength in 1997. So h4 was not so good, king h8, rook 5, f3, f5, e takes f5. It is easy to see that white has nothing better. Queen takes d5, it's a sign as a good move, okay? F takes g6, and rook takes f3. G7, king g8. This is now there is a typical move in this kind of position, which is bishop takes h7, king takes h7, and rook takes f3. And here there is a diagram. The attempt at perpetual check fails. To be honest, I did not even consider it during this game. The check would be obviously queen h5, eat, check, king f7, obviously before taking this, okay? So let's put it like this so one can see, okay? Queen h5 takes, queen g5, king f7, and then rook takes f3, king e8, and nothing. This perpetual check fails. Yeah, it fails in fact. Okay, so rook takes f3, and now black plays knight e4. This takes g3 away from the rook. h5, knight d f6, queen g6, king g8, h6. A rather curious position has arisen. Black is in an unusual form of zugzwang. His knights are tied to defending each other, while his queen is forced to guard the square f7. Here black should probably have forced a draw by continuing with knight h7. And here it gives a line which is a kind of draw. Okay? So let's see after h6. Rook a7, king h2, exclamation point. After this quiet move, black has only one defense, which is not easy to find, is to play rook a8. And here it gives a line, but it says that black was in severe time trouble at this point, okay? So, rook e7, rook h3, destroying the coordination of the black pieces, knight h7, rook d3, queen a8, keeping control of this, but now, boom, this destroys everything. Queen takes e4, rook d8, king f7, g8, queen, I hope so, yeah. King f6, rook d6, king f5, queen g6, king f4, g3, rook, not rook, king e3, rook d3, and queen takes d3. And it seems he resigned, or maybe he lost the game, right? Since he said that he was in terrible time pressure. So this is the end of that game. Well, quite different from the game we saw in the beginning between Ravinsky and Yevitsky. That was nice. It was 26 move. This is 40. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this move, this game, and like I said, I mean, it's beautiful to have the same chess set that Tal was playing his games. Okay, I love it.